What's
How's it
up,
going?
man?
How you doing?
Man, uh, if you'd asked me last weekend, I thought I was about to be frozen over in Dallas. I tell you.
Yeah, I actually have family down in San Antonio, and it's everything going on with the power grids down there, and all the snow you guys got was crazy.
Man, it was crazy. Sunday, I was supposed to go cook for my client. Normally, I'm off on Sundays. We switched it because it was Valentine's Day, and I was going to cook for her and her husband. And I got in the car and I took it right onto my street, and it's a like very subtle incline, and I was going like 5 miles an hour because I was like, it was cold. It was like
Hmm.
7 degree. It was like 7 degrees, and it snowed all night. I slid all the way down the hill. Like my car just started just sliding, and it. I had no control of it. I went like 65 feet, and I got lucky. I wasn't like ping ponging off of other cars, and I just called him. I was like, "Nope, I'm not coming in."
Right? Yeah. No,
Oh,
I actually live in Michigan, so
oh, you know.
I'm used to driving in the snow. It's not as bad now, but yeah, if you don't know how to drive in the snow, it's
Well, snow's one
it
thing.
can go
The
bad.
street was just, yeah, the street was just ice. There was nothing I don't have change, so there's nothing I could do.
Yeah, and I
You
don't.
gotta
You guys don't have salt trucks down there too, do you?
they do for like the highways, but like not enough. Like the infrastructure is not here to handle this. Like our side streets never got salted or snow plowed or nothing. Like they just took care of the main highway and that was it. And
Okay.
yeah. But I mean,
Yes.
but now it's like 70 degrees outside, and
Right.
you couldn't even imagine there was a like sub-zero storm last week.
Right. Back to normal for you guys.
Back to normal. So what's
Yeah.
going on, man?
Oh, just doing this podcast thing. I appreciate you taking the time and coming on for me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for being patient with me.
Oh,
My
you're
schedule
no problem.
just my schedule's just been my schedule's been a lot since this pandemic hit. I mean, uh, like I have a lot of clients, and they all like to hire me to indulge, like have a fancy dinner here, a fancy dinner there, and I travel around the world doing that. And then when the pandemic hit, they were like a lot of clients, like my phone just didn't stop for weeks. They were like, "Are you available? Are you available for full time?" Like people want to be full time because they can't go out to restaurants, and it's
Right.
like, my clients that can afford that were like, "We need Derrick right now," and I got like I ended up taking just the first thing that came through because it was kind of I was already negotiating it before the pandemic hit. I was doing a weekend gig with a famous singer, and then my phone just like was blowing up, and I ended up signing on with Kyle Kuzma for like
Okay.
all of quarantine. Like the entire I went like I went something like 45 days in a row, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for him because he couldn't go out. Like there was nowhere for
Right.
him to go. Nowhere for him to go. And, when you're a celebrity, if you get caught out during something like that, like you're just going to get a wrath of hate. And so he stayed locked up in his house, and he, was working out at his house, but I was there breakfast, lunch, and dinner with him. And then I'm, and then like I cooked so many days in a row. I don't even know. I took one day off, and then I went again for another like I don't know. It was over like a span of like 120 days. I had like 3 days off.
Oh, wow.
It was wild, but that's
That's
because
crazy.
they got to eat and he's got to work out and he has to stay healthy. And it's just like when you sign up for that, you're part of the team and you do whatever it takes.
Right. But at least it kept you busy through the pandemic, kept you employed,
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that's good.
I felt bad when people would ask like, "How are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, man, honestly, I'm doing better than ever because people need me." And I'm an oddly, I, I don't want to say I'm an essential worker, but like for someone that's a celebrity that doesn't want to risk ordering food because they don't know who's touching it and they don't know what's happening with it and they can't go out, they need a private chef. So kind of essential. But yeah, I was lucky to have that, but I also, I felt bad for, everybody that didn't have a job. But I was in this weird like groundhog's day. Like I would get up at like 6:30 a.m. I would do my morning routine, then I would go to the grocery store at like 7:15, and then I'd be at Kuz's house by 8, and then at like 9 o'clock I'd finish, like 9 at night I'd finish, I'd come home, I'd go to bed. I did the same thing just over and over and over and over. And it was like, I felt like I was in a Groundhog's Day. It was so
Right.
crazy.
How long did it take for you to actually adjust to doing that every day? Because I know the first couple of days probably kind of took a toll, and then but after a while, it probably just sets into your mindset,
You would think, but it's actually kind of opposite. So like the first couple weeks, I have never cooked for Kyle before. So there's a million things I can cook for him. Like I can put all my best stuff out there. And then when you're like 65 days in and you've made 65 breakfasts, 65 lunch, 65 dinner, you're like, man, what am I gonna cook tomorrow? Like your brain's just like, you get into a cycle of, well, the good thing is for him, I was writing everything down and keeping track of all the calorie content, fat content, sugar content, like all of it. So it did kind of help. I could go back and say, okay, when was the last time I cooked him chicken parm? Okay, that was a week ago. I probably shouldn't cook that this week unless he asked for it. Or when was the last time I did a rack of lamb? Okay, that was also a week ago. Like I could always look back and say, okay, I've cooked this for him. But yeah, it took, like the first couple of weeks were like actually really easy and a lot of fun because we were also, he was in the kitchen, we were getting to know each other, and he couldn't go anywhere, so he was just like hanging out, and so that was kind of cool. But then like after 65 days, we were just like worn out. Everyone was just worn out because we were just like in this same routine. So yeah,
Right.
seems to be lightening up. The world is slowly getting back together, but then Kyle went down to Orlando to play basketball. They created the bubble,
Right.
and they couldn't take anyone with. And I was like, well, I've been working the past 120 days, but like I can't, like I can wait, but like what do I do? Because I wasn't on a retainer. I didn't have a contract with them, but my phone was blowing up. All these people wanting me to come cook for them. So I was like, okay, I'll go make myself busy until Kyle gets back, right? And so I sent out some text messages. Hey, I'm available. And this one client that I hadn't cooked for yet, but had like hit me up like a year ago. They were like, we have a place in Malibu, and we have a place in Dallas, and we go back and forth about 50-50 throughout the year. And I hit them up. I was like, hey, did you guys find a chef yet? They were like, no. I was like, oh, are you in Malibu or Texas? They're like, we get to Malibu on July 1st. I was like, oh, well, dope. I'm available starting July 9th because Kuz left on July 8th. So I found them they landed in Malibu, and I found them a chef to cover for me for a week. And then I literally started on July 9th, like no day off. I just went straight into it. And they love my food, and they're amazing people. And we just like hit it off, and they were like, we'll give you a contract if you sign on with us. And I was like, damn, guaranteed money,
Right.
with Kuz, it's great. Like Kuz is an amazing guy, and his whole team is amazing. Can't say anything bad about him at all. And I even I definitely miss being around them and cooking for them, but there was no guarantee. Like if they were over it the next day, they could be like, all right, you're done. I had no contract with them. These guys are like, we'll give you a contract, we'll give you benefits, we'll give you a place in Dallas. I was like, man, that's a dream ticket. So here I am in Dallas.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to pass that up. And yeah, I was gonna ask you because from doing my research on you and stuff, it said you've been living in LA for like the past 10 plus years.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask you how you
16
ended up
years.
16 years now.
Yeah.
Wow. I was gonna ask you how you ended up in Dallas, but
Yeah. I
so
mean,
it's through that contract.
yeah. And it's cool. I mean, like, you know, I mean, like, I haven't, shit. That's my manager right now. Uh, hold on.
No problem.
There you go. Yeah, so it's cool. I don't really get to explore too much because, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm just here to work, you know. And also, obviously, with the pandemic, like, people are less serious about masks out here, so
Right.
it's kind of, you know, I can't risk getting my client sick. But yeah, I ended up in LA 16 years ago. I was playing drums in a band called Later Days. It was a band I joined in high school, and when I joined in high school, like I didn't even know how to play drums. Like I was learning how to play drums to play for these guys, and
Okay.
and you know we would practice every day. Like after school, we would get together and practice, and then one day we finally had like I don't know, we had like 7 songs we could play live, and so we booked our first show, and like 200 plus kids showed up to see us play. I was so nervous. I started with the wrong song. My first gig, I started playing the wrong song. God, it was so bad. They all like we all hit that first note. Like they're playing their guitars, and I
Mhm.
start this drum beat, and they look back at me like that's not right. But you know, you learn, and then we just kept at it and kept at it. We got really, really big in our town that we started touring, and uh, and then we booked our tours off MySpace, man. Like we were top
Right.
unsigned band on MySpace. We have a screenshot somewhere because remember when MySpace like would rank music? I don't know if you
Right.
remember that,
Yeah, I
but
do.
it'd be like top 10 unsigned, top 10 independent, and top 10 major. And there was a time where it was like we it was Later Days. We were on the top 10 unsigned, and then like our favorite band, Newfound Glory, was on the independent, and then Blink 182 was on the major, and we were like, we just felt like we
Right.
fucking made it, you know. And so
Right.
we would book we would book these tours around the country, and we got an RV, we had this big bus, and we got a trailer and attach it to the back. And man, I mean, I could sit here for days and tell you band stories, but we uh we booked our own tours, and then we were up in Chicago, and we got a call from Warp Tour, and we got asked to be on the Ernie Ball stage for Warp Tour. We did that, and then after that we were like, we got to move to California. Like we
Mhm.
were like we were like 4 kids out on the road, and we made a boatload of money cash on our own, and we had a merch guy, Alex, and we just like we drove. After that, I packed up and I drove to LA ahead of the rest of the band, and then they followed, and we got out there and recorded albums. And I mean, I don't know, we just like we got really, really close, you know, and then
Right.
it fell apart. Um, yeah, we were like Kiss FM breakout star. We played Wango Tango at like the big Kiss FM radio show,
Mhm.
and then we fell apart. And then I started playing drums, like freelance for some pop groups, and then we were like, I was playing with this group. We were opening for Fifth Harmony and Jason Derulo, and like it was also getting really big. And we had a music video with over 1 million plays, and then those girls broke up too. And I was like, you know what, I gotta do something for me. And then that's when I auditioned for MasterChef. I wrote him an email, and it was like one morning I woke up and I wrote him an email, and I send like a photo of me playing drums, a photo of this like scallop dish I made, and then like a biography. And 20 minutes later, the phone rang.
20 minutes later?
20 minutes later, like
Yeah.
I brewed my coffee, walked out in the patio, sat down, I was chilling, and then my phone rang. And this guy Ned was like, "Hey, this is Ned from Masterchef casting. Is this Derrick?" And I was like, "Yep."
No shit. Yeah, I was gonna ask you what the process of getting onto MasterChef is like. Because I know
Hard.
you gotta go to auditions, right? Before like the actual like recorded auditions.
Yeah. So what I can say is like, you gotta go to an audition. And since I sent the email, I got like a VIP audition. I got to skip the line
Okay.
because there's a lot of people that show up, and you have to cook a dish at your place, and they don't care about temperature. They say cook a dish, but bring all the components separate to the audition. And then you get there and you pull out all your ingredients, and they're interviewing you, and you're in a room 50 at a time. And they, at least this is what they did for us. I don't know if they still do it, but they give us a little challenge, and they say you have 3 minutes to plate your dish, and then they go, your time starts now. And dude, that 3 minutes in that audition feels like 30 seconds. It's
Yeah.
it's so fast. It goes so fast. And you're shaking. You're nervous because you're like, man, if I make it on this show, if I make it all the way to the end, I could win $250,000. Like, this is the start right here. And I'm just like, I can't get the fucking food on the plate. It's so hard. I did. And it was cool. And I made it through each round, and there's a lot of rounds. And then like they do every month. It felt like every 3 weeks they were interviewing me again and again and again. And then you make it to top 100, and they tell you pack a bag for 5 days or 3 months, because you don't know how long you're staying from that point. When you make it to the top 100, you're just like, there's a chance that you make it all the way. So you got to pack your bags for 3 months. And man, it was crazy. There's things I wish I could share that like I just can't because of the contract. But
Right. Yeah,
was,
I know there's some things you can't talk about just because of contracts and all that. So I'll try to keep it to what I think you might be able to talk about. And if you
yeah,
can't
for
talk
sure.
about anything, no big deal. But just like, what was the experience of being on like such a major culinary show? Like, what was the experience like for you, and how did it change your life? I mean, obviously, you were runner up of season 6, and
Yeah.
to be honest, you were my favorite from the get go, from that season.
Thank you.
Just right off the bat, man. And I was really pulling for you all the way. But
Man, if I had $1 for every time someone told me that, I'd have the grand prize.
I believe it.
I mean, shit, it's 5.5 years later, and I get told at least once a day from somewhere on the globe. Right now it's airing in Turkey, so I get a message every day from Turkey. Someone's like, you should have won. And I'm like, man, I know. The experience was crazy. And I think anyone would say that, but like, to give you an idea of what it felt like, I don't know. Have you ever, this is how I can compare it. I remember like the first time I broke up with a girlfriend, I was super, super nervous, and I had like that knot in my stomach that like the world was ending.
Right.
And I don't know if you've ever had that feeling, but like
Mm-hmm.
that feeling for me was like these butterflies, like this knot in my stomach, and it hurt. I was so nervous that it hurt. And I think everyone felt that way, but like my goal was to just not show it. I didn't want to show any weakness. I was the guy that was like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win this thing. And that's kind of how I've always approached life. Like, I got my core group of friends. It's not a big group, but like they're my people, and
Right.
and and they know who I am, and not a lot of people like get to be in that world. So I was there like this was a sport. I was approaching this like an athlete, like, and then I got in, and there's things like for instance, the first time we cooked for Gordon, like we had to submit way back like months before we made it to even top 100. We were asked to submit 4 dishes: an appetizer, an entree, a signature dish, and a dessert. And we had to write them out. And I'm telling you, like, Justin, at this point in my life, like I was like broke. I had just moved in with my girlfriend at the time, but before I met her, I was living in my best friend's living room. I was negative in my bank account. I was walking to work like I had just started over with my life completely because some shit went wrong and I just had to start over. And so I was like truly trying to build it back up and working, serving jobs here and there. And when they asked for those like 4 recipes, I couldn't even go to the store and like buy the groceries for 4 recipes to demo. I just didn't have the money. I was like, so I wrote out recipes that I thought would be good, that I thought that I could make,
Right.
and made them up and submitted those. And I had 3 of them I had photos of I had done before, but like the signature, like when they wanted the signature, I was like, I don't have a signature dish. So I made something up. Well, they asked for those 4 because when we were earning our white aprons, they were pairing people up to battle based on what we submitted. So that's how they figured that out. And so that first challenge, when I was doing the lamb challenge, the signature dish that I put forward was this rack of lamb with a parsnip puree, quinoa, and coconut curry sauce. I had never made that before. And that was the first thing I cooked.
That was the first time you cooked that, and it was for Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah. Do you know, I can't even explain to you like how stupid I felt, like going, I'm fucked. I'm going, and like, and when the people next to me, like, I think Amanda was in there, and she had a recipe like passed down from her grandmother, and then there was this guy Nate, and he was from Chicago, and he was like, I've been cooking and eating lamb my whole life, and I'm like, yeah, you have. Like, damn it, like I am up against like people that like deal with lamb all the time, and Nate's like dressed in like nice ass clothes, and Amanda, I mean, she just looked like the silent killer. Like she was quiet and she was calm and poised and like really pretty, but then she'd talk and he was like, oh man, she's gonna kick my ass. And I'm there, I'm in like jeans, Chucks that I've been wearing for like 5 years. I have holes in the bottoms because I haven't been able to afford to buy new ones, and a shirt that's like a $9 t-shirt that I've cut $3 off of. Like, I'm like, I look like a bum, and then I make this like 5-star lamb dish and nail it, and it was like, okay, I got this. And then the nerves went away for a minute, and then Gordon says to them, and I don't think it made camera, I don't remember, but he was like, out of everyone here, Derrick's dish was by far the best we've ever seen at this stage of the competition in the history of Masterchef. And everyone looks at me, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, there's that nod again. And I was just like nervous. And so like every day that we film, we had to pack our bags because someone's going home. And you don't know who's going home. So they make everyone bring their bags, because when you go home, which I didn't experience this because I made it all the way to the end, but when you're a contestant, you go home straight from set. Like, you don't go back to the hotel. You go home.
That was another question I
And so,
had for you is like the elimination process. Like, because you
yeah.
on the show you see them say goodbye to everybody and then they walk out the doors. I was gonna ask you, like, is that actually like the final goodbye with you guys, or do you get to see them like after you're done recording, or do they go just like straight
No,
home?
they do a really good job. They do a really good job of like making it like that's it. You know, that's why we all do get emotional because it's like,
Hmm.
oh no, that's it. Like, you know, we don't get to see or talk to our families. So like when they bring our families in like top 10,
Hmm.
the reason we can't hold back those emotions is because we've been going to battle like every day with these challenges, getting pushed to the max. Our day starts at 5 in the morning and doesn't end and sometimes until 10 at night.
Oh
And
wow.
it's because of all the stuff that goes on in between. And so
Hmm.
like we're worn out, we're stressed, we're like we can't really we're like eating, but like we don't want to eat. We're too stressed. I mean, I lost like 10 pounds on that show. Like it's the
Wow.
best diet. I want to go do it again. Uh and you know, so when your family comes from behind the curtain, you're just like you're a mess. And um yeah, I mean your day like the one true hour is when they say the time starts now. Like that's
Hmm.
not fake. That's a real hour.
Okay.
But you know, we got to go into hair and makeup at like 8 a.m. So they got to start wrangling us at our hotels at like 5, 6 in the morning. Make sure we get breakfast and get up and get up on the vans and go to set, and then go into hair and makeup, and then wardrobe, and then the producers come in and talk to us, and then do blocking shots where it's like when you walk into the Masterchef kitchen, they shoot it from a bunch of different ways. So we got to do it a couple times. And we go to our stations, or like what they're revealing what like today's thing might be, or if it's a mystery box, we all get behind our mystery boxes. And they have to read us rules for each challenge. And like there's a lot of stuff that like just isn't supposed to be on TV that just has to be done, you know, to
Hmm.
and it fills a lot of time. And then after we got to do our interviews, and we do them one at a time. And when there's four, like in the beginning, when there's 40 people and 40 people got to do interviews, we're sitting there for a long ass time,
Right.
just waiting.
Yeah, yeah. I read that there's a lot of wait time that goes along, because like I I read somewhere like after you guys cook your dishes, that it's not right away that the judges taste because they have to like set up and like take the pictures of your guys' food,
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah. I
that.
mean, like, yeah. I mean, uh, like, you know, people don't understand that, like, that's part of TV. You gotta get those, like, those pictures aren't like fake. Like, they gotta take those pictures. So they can't touch the dish until they take the pictures.
Right.
Um, when we do like the team challenges, we would always make an extra plate, and that was called the beauty
Hmm.
shot, because when like there was team challenges and there was people judging the food hot, like they would be eating it right away. So we would always make an extra, and that was the beauty plate. Um, but like for the you know mystery box and stuff. But I mean, you'll see like when the judges come and like talk to us, like they're tasting
Hmm.
our food, they're trying it, and they're
Okay.
chefs. Like
Right.
you can be a chef and look at something and go, okay, that's gonna be good if it's seasoned right. You know, like when grits are like perfectly creamy and cheesy, and you're like, oh man, I want
Hmm.
to eat those grits. Like they're probably gonna be good unless the chef didn't use salt. And so
Right.
they taste that. They taste that right there. They taste it and they won't say anything and they'll walk away. And then you're like, do you like that? And then
Right.
if you're not tasting your food and like you didn't salt those grits and like they call you up, they're gonna be like, did you taste this? And you're gonna be like, nope. And they're gonna be like, well, it needs salt. And then you're like, oh fuck. It doesn't have to be hot when he's trying it 2 hours later. He already
Right.
knows that you didn't salt it because he came and tried it at your station, you know?
Right. So yeah, so by the time they actually get to like to the individual judging, they're basically eating cold food.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But you can still taste good from bad,
Right.
and they see it. I mean, they're tasting it hot, whether the camera shows it to you or not. They're coming around and they go to everyone's station and taste pieces of the dish while it's hot, and then they can tell.
Right.
I mean, I ate chicken parmesan the other day, 2 days later, and it was cold, and I ate it cold, and I was like, "Damn, this is good."
Right.
Like, because I made it right, and it was good. It's good cold. You can taste it. So
Right.
yeah.
So what was it like working like around and cooking for Gordon Ramsay? I mean, obviously everyone knows who Gordon Ramsay is. He's such a big name in the culinary
Yeah.
world. Just a phenomenal chef, and just what was that like cooking for him every day?
I mean, obviously nerve-wracking. Anyone that says they're not nervous is lying. But
Mhm.
I learned to understand him, and I've watched a lot of Gordon Ramsay shows, and the biggest mistake that everyone makes is they don't listen to him.
Mhm.
Anytime if someone's like getting like chewed out by him or fails on his shows, they were not listening. And
Mhm.
even if you don't agree with it, listen to it. Take a moment and go, why is he telling me to do this way? Like, especially if you don't agree with it, you're like,
Mhm.
man, I don't agree with that. Why would he be saying that? But no, there's like people that like talk back, or like it'll be like, he'll say, you shouldn't have done this, and they go, well, I did it because blah blah blah, and it's like, nope, you fucked up right there. Like, you should have
Right.
just said, yes, chef, or okay, chef. Like, and he would say some things, and you'd have to like, I learned to like read between the lines, and I think that's also why I did really well, because there was one time, the breakfast challenge that I won.
Mhm.
uh they Graham was going to cook while we cooked, and we were supposed to make one stunning dish, and Graham was going to make three. And before they even read us the details, I was like, I'm fucking caked with breakfast. I'm gonna make more than one breakfast. I'm gonna put three up. And
Mhm.
then they announced that Graham was gonna be doing three, and they were like, "You make one stunning breakfast dish. Graham's gonna make three." And I was like, "Oh, that's the real challenge. Make three. Do what Graham does. Try and be that bold." And
Right.
everyone made one, and I made three components,
I remember.
and I won. So it was like learning to read between the lines like that.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, it was an experience that, yeah, was life changing. I mean, I went from, you know, like barely getting by, and jumping from serving job to serving job, and band gig to band gig, just like not knowing where the next dollar was coming from, to now six-figure contract and traveling the world. Like,
Right. Yeah,
it's
that's
pretty
crazy.
it's pretty wild.
Right. So did you guys ever know what was behind the mystery boxes, or was it always a surprise?
It was always truly a surprise, and people don't understand how, like, some of the things we come up with,
Mhm.
but truly, like, we only cook for that 1 hour of the day, so we have a lot of time to think, because we don't have our phones, we don't have the internet, we don't have any connection with the outside world. We're like in this bubble. I did 3 months of quarantine before anyone ever did any quarantine. So, like, we come in and we have to stand behind that box, and they tell you, if you lift that box before we say, we'll send you home right there. And so everyone's like nervous. When they tell us, we lift the box, and then it's like,
Mhm.
boom, your brain just starts thinking. And you have about 15 minutes from when they reset the cameras after we do the reveal to
Mhm.
when, like, our time starts. And so you get about 15 minutes to think about what you're going to do. And sometimes, man, like, luckily every time I had a mystery box, like, I came up with something good. But there was one when it wasn't a mystery box. It was I think it was I don't remember what. I know it was peanut butter and jelly. Tommy gave us peanut butter and jelly. Um, and it was one of my worst dishes, but it never aired. Like they didn't show it. I got like skimmed over that week, and you could speculate. You could say they did that on purpose. I don't know. We'll never know.
Right.
But I did like this chicken with like this Thai peanut sauce and this grape gastrique. I was like trying to make like a red wine gastrique kind of thing to do a play on peanut butter and jelly. It was such a bad move. It was such a bad move, but hey, I lived to tell about it.
Would you try to make it again?
No, not even ever. It was probably also one of my ugliest plates. I think I put like 100 dots on that plate. I was just like, I was burnt, man, and like, I don't think it was an elimination. So I wasn't worried. I think it was deciding like teams or something. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and watch. But I wasn't worried about going home on that one. So I was just like, fuck it, I got to get through it. And I was kind of experimenting. And we do get to, there are like in the green room, there's cookbooks. So we can read cookbooks for inspiration. Trust me, you don't retain any of it when you're out on that floor and they're like, your time starts now. You're like, what was that recipe again? Like, you don't remember. Like, but you can read it. You can read them and you get inspiration. And I just didn't put down Daniel Boulud's cookbook. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's an amazing chef and so artistic. And so I was just like trying to take ideas from him. And so this one plate, man, I was just like, I put so many dots of like the Thai peanut sauce and the jelly gastrique. It just looked like a purple and brown polka dotted plate. It was so bad.
I could only imagine how the judges felt about that one.
Yeah. Graham said it was nice, and I knew he was lying.
So was there ever a time that like you guys got a mystery box or you got a mystery box or anything that you didn't know how to cook?
Let me think about that.
Because like, I rewatched Masterchef just recently, like every season, and there were episodes where like people would get like in a mystery box challenge, and they're like, I've never cooked this before, I don't know what to do with it, and like,
I don't think I ever had a moment where I didn't know how to like cook something in the sense that like I know there was one moment, and I think this could be like one of the reasons, like, I don't know, I'm not gonna say, but there was one moment where Claudia was working like catty corner to me. It was early on. We had to do chicken and waffles, and I was asking Claudia, I was like, hey, do you know a waffle recipe? And I was like, I'm having like a brain fart on like what's in a waffle, right? Like I just like I couldn't remember, like, are there eggs? What blah blah blah, flour, whatever. And then she was nice and like gave me like a heads up of what would be in a waffle, and then I kind of put my own twist on it, and it came out. And so there was that, which was like, looking back, like it was crazy for her to say that, like give me any sort of idea. So if that's why she won, then she deserves it.
Right. Yeah. It was a tough battle there at the end for you two, and you both gave out really good dishes. It was a good toss up to see who would win.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's a fighter in the kitchen, man. She never gave up, and there were moments that she could have, moments that we all could have given up, but she was fighting, and like we don't get to taste each other's food. I don't know what any of her stuff tasted like.
Hmm.
I mean, we do when we were on teams together. Uh, and I remember early on we were having a battle. We were having an argument of the amount of salt that needed to go in something, and she was like, "It's not salty enough." I was like, "That's really salty," and I was like, "Do you smoke?" And she was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "See, you can't taste it." It was like something like that, and you know, but no, she fought hard, and like the outcome is the outcome. I'm not like I'm not bitter about it. I think more than anything, I just get annoyed because like it's still 5 years later, and I still get told every day I should have won, and like
That
I'm not.
constant reminder of it,
Yeah, it's
you
like
know.
it's almost like a little Chinese torture because it's just like this little ping in my brain that I get hit with every day, and it's like not, it's at this point it's not like I know anyone that's saying it to me is trying to give me a compliment and they mean it with like the best intentions, but it just like it like hurts, and it's
Right.
like because I've had to work even harder since because I come off the show with one, I was just on this show for 3 months with no income. I had no money before,
Hmm.
and I made it all the way to the end, and I got nothing. I got
Right.
nothing, and then I have to go 3 months until the show airs before I could tell anyone about it, and then uh, the show started airing, and the phone started ringing, and my emails started going off, and I was like, okay, so I started responding to shit. And people were
Hmm.
like, "We want you to come cook us dinner." And I'm like, "Oh, that's weird. Okay." And I'm like, "How? I don't even know how to charge for that." So then I start hitting up like other chefs from previous master chefs, and they don't
Hmm.
want to share how much they charge.
Right.
And then I learned that really you can charge whatever you want. Like it's your price to make up,
Hmm.
and it's your value. And so like in the beginning, man, I missed out on a lot of money because I wasn't charging enough. And I was doing these dinners for like, I don't know, like $75 a person. And I did I did one dinner at a house, and it was, I mean, they were like hoarders.
Uh,
And I was like, I am going home right now and changing my prices. But it was like, and so like I I would go away for months at a time traveling around basically on tour cooking food for people, trying to save up money and make a name for myself in a whole different way, like that I never planned on doing. I never planned for any of this.
right.
I wanted to go on MasterChef, win 250K, do this cookbook, and then go back to the music. Like I was like, I'm gonna go jam and put that money in the bank. I'm gonna live off the interest, and
Hmm.
I'm set. And then the universe had a different plan.
Right.
And I am glad that it did because I've done a lot more because of it. I've been able to help so many charities. I've been able to make a lot of special days for a lot of people. I've been able to really find out who I am as a chef and learn about food in a totally different way. It's taken to me to so many different places. So,
Hmm.
I'm when I look back on it, I'm like, I wouldn't change it at all. And I'm so happy to be doing what I'm doing, but like, it wasn't the plan.
Right. So basically, music was your ultimate plan.
I mean, it was, but sometimes the universe will show you what you really should be doing,
Hmm.
and I mean, I will always play music, and look, there's no set age for a drummer, you know what I mean? But
Right.
there's only like one drummer making good money, and that's Travis Barker, and everyone else is just picking up scraps.
Right.
And I know that firsthand. There's no other drummer right now making $1 million a year. Like, there's not.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Hmm. Yeah. So you like you mentioned earlier, like you're a private chef. Do you prefer doing that as opposed to working in restaurants?
You know, so I have worked in a few restaurants.
Hmm.
I've ran a couple. I've staged in some, um, with some Michelin star chefs. I've tried it all because I wanted to learn it all. And in fact, when I came off the show before it even aired, I went and got a job at this place called Burger Lounge because I knew like my life was about to change and I didn't know in which way. So I was like, I want to go learn like how a restaurant works. And I started this place, Burger Lounge, because it's like a fast food concept, but it's all from scratch.
Okay.
So uh, I went to this place and I was like, hey, I want your worst job. I was like, I want to start at the bottom in the kitchen and I want to work my way up and I can't tell you why. And they were like, what? And I was like, and I knew a guy there. That's how I got in, but like
Hmm.
I couldn't tell them why. And they were like, okay.
Right.
And they put me on prep and I had to make from scratch 600 hamburger patties every day.
Wow.
And they wanted it done in like an hour and a half and it would take me like 3-4 hours. I was so slow at it. And then one of the guys came over and he showed me this technique and he's like, this is how you do it to go faster, because we had to weigh each one because different burgers were different sizes, but they had to be exact because that's your food cost.
Right.
So he was showing me this technique where you're pulling the meat out of the bowl, tearing it, weighing it, and he showed it to me, and then it cut my time in half. And I was like, oh wow, okay. And then that is like right where it like clicked. I was like, the only way like you make it in the food business, you've got to work with other chefs, you've got to work with other cooks, you got to listen to every cook around you, because we're all just retaining information and we're all just, you know, working to get a task done, and you're figuring it out and you got to share that information.
Hmm.
So, and that's how food evolves. That's how it travels, is you're working with each other and it goes places. Um, so I did that. And then one day, like a guy didn't show up on the salad station. And I was back there, I was like prepping, doing shit. And then we were slam busy and they were like, Derrick, we need you on salads. I was like, I don't know what's in any of these salads. Like,
Right.
they're like, there's a chart. And I was like, okay. And so like, I'm reading tickets in this chart and I'm like doing the best I could. And then by like day 3, I had it down. I was like crushing the salad station.
Hmm.
And then they were like, all right, we're going to move you up to grill. And I was like, so one day a week I would do grill, and grill is hard. I mean, you can imagine I'm prepping 600 burgers a day.
Right.
That means we're going through 600 burgers a day.
Yeah.
And they grill to temp there, they do medium rare, medium, or well done. And dude, when you got 40 burgers on one grill and you're trying to keep them all organized, it'll break you real quick. Like you want to
Yeah.
cry because you're just pushing your mind to the max on the organization. But so I learned a lot from that place, and that was before anything. I didn't call myself a chef then or anything. Like, I didn't feel like I had earned that title, and I worked my way up to Expo from there, and then after that, the show started airing, and I was still working there, and then I got recognized, and that's when I quit. Someone recognized me through the little chef window, and I was like, all right, I'm out. And they were like, what? I was like, I can't work here anymore.
Right.
And then they were like, they were like, they're like, you were on a national TV show as a chef? And I was like, see ya. And then, that's when the phone started ringing. I started flying around cooking for people. And then I started doing pop-ups, and, no one helps you with anything. You go off the show and you got to figure it out. And I had
Right.
no direction. I had no idea what I was doing. And the problem is like, they kind of create a character for you on the show. Claudia does Mexican food,
Right.
and Hethel is a vegetarian, and like Nick does Italian, and like everyone had like their thing. And Amanda is an amazing baker, and I just made pretty food. I didn't have like a lane. I just made food look really nice. And so that I didn't know what to do with that after. And then I kind of learned, like, later on, I was like, oh, I need to be in like a fancy restaurant. So then I started working at a fancy restaurant, and there was so much competition. Like this chef there, I was just a cook, and they were like, well, you don't have much of a resume, so you have to start at the bottom and work your way up. I was like, okay. And I did. Within 6 weeks, I took on every challenge that they gave me, and I worked my way all the way up. And I got to the point where, like, the chef knew I was coming for his job, so then he was just trying to sabotage me. And I was like, what? I was like, aren't we? First of all, I'm not like coming for your job. I'm trying to do the best that I can do so I get promoted. And like, he was temporary anyway, so I don't even know what he was worried about. But anyway, so he started like trying to sabotage me. So then I quit there, and I started doing. I would do anytime I like left a place, I would like do pop-ups, and pop-ups would get me through, and it was kind of cool because it was like it would be random when I would do them, so they'd be exclusive. And then I got an offer at another restaurant, and it was a lot of smoke and mirrors. They offered me the world, and then I got in, and they couldn't give me anything, and that was a mess. And so then I left there, and I started doing a couple private things, and I was like, oh, private's cool. I filled in for Seth MacFarlane's chef for like 4 weeks. Cooked for Seth MacFarlane, and I learned a lot on that gig. And then I was like, okay, well, private's nice because you get to cook something different every day. When you're in a restaurant, you come up with a menu and you cook the same thing every day until you change your menu. And so private, you get to like explore and do different things. And honestly, private chefing, what a lot of people don't know is it's not always, but it can be harder than working in a kitchen, because in the kitchen you have a team. You got a guy for prep. And you set your team up for success so that when everyone's doing their part, the food comes out and it works. And obviously, like, when someone calls in sick, that piece of the puzzle, that part of the machine, it's a wrench, and you got to work it out. Private, you're mostly by yourself, unless the party is big enough that you can bring in a second chef. For the most part, you're by yourself. You're sourcing all the ingredients, you're managing your food costs, you're doing all your own prep, you're doing all your own dishes, and then you're also taking requests from your client. Your client walks in, they have a craving for chocolate cake. They're like, Derrick, can we have a chocolate cake tonight? And if it's not out of the question, you have to make it happen. If I got 4 hours till dinner, that's pushing it, because I got to cool the cake, but I'm like, yeah, I can make it happen. Or if they ask me in the morning, I definitely can't say no. I have all day to make a cake. I gotta fill it in my free time. So, but that's an easy request. Like, I was cooking for this family one time, and I came in, and they tell me at 11:30 a.m. that they're having a barbecue for 30 people at 1:30.
Like
I'm like,
2 hours.
yeah, 2 hours to do a barbecue for 30 people. And I have zero food for that many people. Nope, I have no help. I have no prep cook. I'm like 30 people. Like normally I wouldn't cook for 30 people by myself. 30 people, I call in an extra hand. And I'm like, okay. I was like, well, I got to go to the store. I broke every traffic law driving to the grocery store. And I got back to the grocery stores, they all know me because I'm in there every day. And the butcher's like, yo, you're back. I was like, yeah, I just got told I'm doing a barbecue for 30. I was like, I'm going to need 4 pounds of ground beef. I'm going to need like 15 sausages. And I was like going down, and he was like, sure. And I was like, and fast. He was like, all right. And I mean, I skipped in front of everybody at the butcher counter, and they were all like staring at me like, what the hell? And I ran back to the house, and I made it happen, you know?
That's
like,
crazy.
Made it happen.
Right.
So that kind of pressure, like, and you can't have an attitude about it. You're in someone's home.
Right.
It's not like at a restaurant where a chef can throw a fucking pot across the kitchen. It slams into the wall, and then the guy goes, picks it up, and puts it in the dish pit. Like, you can't do that when you're in the middle of someone's home. You got to just like take a deep breath, smile, and go, yeah, no problem.
Right. As much as you probably don't want to sometimes. You got to.
Oh man. There are days.
I can imagine. But when you think about it, to me, being a private chef seems kind of cool. I wouldn't mind doing that. And my brother-in-law is actually a chef. He went to culinary school, and he ran a kitchen for a little while. And I keep telling him, I'm like, man, you should become a private chef. Like,
yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend it if you can figure it out, because it's hard to figure out. It's like with restaurants, there's a system. There's systems. That's what makes a successful restaurant. You have your systems, and they're pretty much universal in that you have a prep station, and you have a garde manger, and you have saute, and you have grill, and your hotline, and you have your expo, and you'll find that in every kitchen.
Right.
With private, your customer is also your boss, which is very difficult, and you have to be able to read them and anticipate their needs, and you're changing the menu every day. And unless they request something to have again, and you know, it's hard. It's hard in a different way, and you got to manage your shopping time and all of it. I mean, it's not any easier than working for a restaurant, but the pay can be better if you find the right client.
Okay. So
substantially better.
Right.
But you got to work for it. You got to work up to it. My first private gig, I was not getting paid what I'm getting paid now. You got to build your resume. You got to do some shit for free. I've cooked for a lot of people for free to put them on my resume. You know, so that's the same as like when you're in the restaurant business, you do a stage, you go cook at a restaurant for free. I mean, I did that at Somni, which is a 2 Michelin star restaurant. I did it at Molise, which is also a 2 Michelin star restaurant. Show up, cook for free. You're at the bottom of the totem pole. I mean, when I went and staged for Somni, first thing I did, I walked in, they gave me the apron, and then they handed me a magic eraser sponge, and they were like, go clean the floors in the dining room.
For real?
I was on my hand, for real. I was on my hands and knees for the first hour with a little sponge, doing this in small circles for each panel of wood in the dining room.
That's insane.
Luckily it was, yeah. And then I got up and I had a new appreciation for that spot. And I got up and I was like, okay, I did that. What's next? And then they gave me different tasks. And so it's a 2 Michelin star restaurant. It's 10 seats. It's only 10 seats. So the dining room is small. The dining room is like 400 square feet. Okay. But it's still a lot of square feet when you're doing this.
Right. Yeah.
But then, so it's 10 seats, 25 courses, 2 seatings a night. And, I'm doing all the tasks they give me, and I'm moving up and moving up. And then it comes time to start serving. We have guests and we're plating dishes. And then there's one moment where, I'm entrusted to put the ingredients on the plate in the right spot. And out of the corner of my eye, I see Chef Vitor Zabala's, like, he's all tatted up, and I can see his tattoos, and I see his hand putting things on the plate, and I'm standing next to him, bringing his creations to life. And it was just like this most surreal moment. I'm like, this dude has, fought so hard to be a part of, because that restaurant is part of the Jose Andres group. And so he works hand in hand with Jose Andres. Like, he's traveled from Spain. He's learned, a second language to come to Los Angeles. And he is running a 2 Michelin star restaurant with his ideas. And I'm standing next to him, putting them on the plate. Like, that was a wild moment. So, but like, I started that night out washing the floors.
That's crazy.
People look at my Instagram and my Facebook, and like, they have no idea that, like, I do shit like that, man. Like,
right, like what you had to go through to get there.
Yeah, but I put a 2 Michelin star restaurant on my resume because I got down on my knees and cleaned the floor. Not everyone's gonna do that.
Right. Yeah, that's tough. And 400 square feet. I mean, yeah, like, if you're just looking at it, not that big, but like you said, you're down on your hands and knees with the magic erase marker or scrubber.
And they wouldn't give me a new one until that one literally disintegrated.
Wow.
So I rubbed that thing until it disintegrated to get another one. It was pretty crazy.
That's insane. I'll give you that, man. That's insane. I don't know if I would have had the willpower to do that.
I was stoked to be there.
Right. All right, man. So we're about to wrap up here. I just got a few more quick little fun questions for you. Being a private chef, do you have who's been your favorite client, if you don't mind speaking about it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've only had one client that I did not like. The rest, I've liked them all. They've all been unique in their own way. But I mean, honestly, the people I'm with right now, I truly accepted their offer based off of their kindness, generosity, and who they are as humans. Okay. They're so unbelievably nice. I mean, like, I never thought I would ever live in Dallas. So that tells you, right. I used to drive through the state of Texas faster than I was allowed to get through it because I didn't want to be here. Now I have a new appreciation for it, but no, they're wonderful. Kyle Kuzma he was amazing to cook for. I've had some, everyone's been awesome. I've had some really, really cool celebrity clients, others that I can't say, but
right.
They're all fun. But yeah, these guys right now, hands down, I mean, they're just unbelievably thoughtful, caring people.
That's awesome, man. What's your favorite thing to cook?
I hate this question.
Right. I figured you would.
A lot of it has to do with my mood, who I'm cooking for, when I'm cooking. I mean, like, my go-to is just quesadilla.
Okay.
But, hands down, I've cooked for people that, I mean, I've cooked for trillionaires. I've cooked for people that have $1 trillion. Not on the Forbes list because they're royalty and they live in other countries and they don't count it. But I've been told by everyone who has my lamb chops, it's the best they've ever had. So, I mean, even a guy that flew on the private jet with us out here to Dallas, like, he's friends with some amazing world-class Michelin star chefs. And he asks me every time every time he comes to dinner, every time he's at the house, he's like, "Can we have your lamb chops?" He loves them. So I think if I got to cook for somebody and they're up for having lamb, I'll make them lamb chops.
I will admit, man, once I saw you cook it on the show, man, it looked good. And
I've only gotten better.
I think I've only had lamb like once in my life.
Yeah,
So
how'd you
like
feel?
it was good. I personally want to learn how to try it because I love cooking, and that's one of the main reasons why I watched Masterchef is because I love cooking. It's fun for me. I've thought about going into a career in food and going to culinary school. I've even contemplated about signing up for Masterchef and seeing if I can get on. I don't know if I'm
Oh yeah.
good enough, but I like to cook it. But that's definitely one thing that I want because I don't know how to cook lamb.
So let me ask you a question. If
Okay.
you had the opportunity to audition for MasterChef, what would you cook for them?
For the audition,
Yeah.
I would probably have to go with some grits.
Yeah?
Yeah, because
Well,
I'm originally from Tennessee, so I grew up in the
okay.
South, and I love grits, man. Make them from scratch and
What would you serve with the grits though? You can't just serve grits.
shrimp and grits.
Yeah.
I would do a shrimp and grits with maybe like a gravy sauce in it.
So a lot of people do that. A lot of
Right.
people.
I
Uh,
assume.
how would yours be different? How would yours be different?
See, I don't know. That's the whole
All
thing
right,
of
you're
me
out.
needing to
You're out.
get in the right. Yeah.
You're out.
Like I need to get in the kitchen more and experiment more with it and like
I'll tell you what.
really build up something.
For anyone that's listening and is auditioning for a show, never answer with "I don't know." If you
Right.
don't know, make it up.
Yeah. No,
You're
I
like, if
agree
they're
with you
like, what would you
100%.
what would you add to your shrimp and grits that would make it different? If you're about to say I don't know, just say pineapple or just say tomatoes or something. Just say an ingredient. Don't say I don't know. Because the
Well,
minute you
I
say I
well I
don't
know for
know,
sure I'd put the salt, pepper, and cream, of
there you
course.
go.
But
And
you know,
butter.
butter, yes. I put lots of butter in my grits. Just the way I like it. I might overdo
Yeah.
it for some people, but I like a lot of butter in my grits.
Well, maybe one day when I get some time, I'll teach you how to cook some lamb and you can show me your grits.
Dude, I would love that. That'd be
All
amazing.
right,
That'd
man.
be amazing. But one more question for you.
Okay.
So you personally, what's your favorite thing to eat? Like what's your go-to food? I know you said the quesadilla is for like a go-to, but
Yeah, but
do you have a favorite style of food?
like like a last meal kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I love all. I mean, I have expensive taste, so honestly, I want like uni toast. I want like foie gras on a fillet, some crab legs, and some caviar. Like I just like you don't even. That's the thing about those things aren't even hard to make. You just have to like prepare them gently, and they're really good. Like uni, you don't have to do anything. Put it on a toast, squeeze a little bit of orange,
Hmm.
like a fresh orange squeeze over it. Oh my god, it's amazing. Caviar on a fucking Ritz cracker, done.
Right.
Oysters, oysters. Open them up, eat them. Like I love raw oysters. Um, yeah. What else did I say? Crab legs.
Hmm.
But grill them. If you've ever had grilled crab legs, you gotta try it. King crab
I
legs.
don't think I've
Like
ever
those are all
grilled.
things. Oh, they're so good grilled.
Man.
But like none of those things like take any effort.
Hmm.
They're just like on this planet already delicious, and I think there's something about that, and I think that's why I really enjoy them. On
Right.
this planet and
Okay.
already delicious.
I may have to try grilling them sometime.
Yeah, only the king crab legs. I don't fuck with any others. Uh,
Okay.
king crab legs, just like grill them for like maybe like 3-4 minutes on each side. Pull them out, cut them open. Oh, so good.
I'll have to try that sometime.
let me know.
I will, man. All right, Derrick. Again, man, I'm a huge fan of yours. Loved you on MasterChef. Thank you for coming
Thank
on and
you.
talking to me today.
For sure, man.
Tell my listeners where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, best is Chef Derrick Fox on Instagram, Chef Derrick Fox on Facebook, and then like if you want if you want to get inside my mind a little bit, my Twitter is DRockVP. I get kind of like real there. Like I'll troll some people if they're out of line. I'll tell you what I'm really thinking on Twitter. But no, Instagram is the best place to see my food. And my Instagram TV, I have recipe videos that I've been putting up here and there, so you can learn a couple things. Yeah, Chef Derrick Fox.
All right, man.
Justin,
I may have to go follow you now.
Having me.
Oh, of course. Thanks for coming on. I do follow you on Instagram, but I may have to go follow your Twitter now, just to see the crazy shit you do.
It's all. I mean, I'm either promoting Tesla stock, Dogecoin, bashing Ted Cruz, or
my wife does it too.
Good. So something like that, calling somebody out. I don't know.
Right.
Nobody's perfect.
That's right.
All right, man.
True. All right, Derrick. Have a good day.
Thanks, man.